So here we go on this 4th of April, 2024, and Ray Fosse's birthday. I know a lot of you have been waiting on me to put out a video just like this or share how I'm feeling and what exactly is going on. Crazy enough, I was actually in Sacramento today for most of the day. Totally separately, I was with my family and some friends over at the California State Railroad Museum. Had nothing to do with what was going on, just right across the river and about a mile or two away at the ballpark, where the A's were delivering some of their biggest news in franchise history. And when you think about this announced relocation, this interim relocation starting in 2025, none of it should really come as a surprise. I mean, Sacramento had always been in the interim conversation, really going back to last summer. And the legislative session ended, we had a better idea of the timeline and what the A's would need to do between Oakland and the Coliseum lease expiring and their plans for Las Vegas in 2028. There would need to be somewhere in the middle. It's just that now that we're here, and now that this has been decided and announced, it feels stunning. It feels stunning to be at this point of the process. And I mentioned the interim years were known, but there was never really an optimal spot, a turnkey location. I mean, how many cities have a major league ballpark that's empty and ready to go and, hey, the A's can play there? Nothing ever really works out like that. So whether it was Sacramento or Salt Lake City or Summerlin, just west of the Las Vegas Strip, or Reno, or sharing another major league team's baseball stadium, there really was no perfect option that kind of checked all the boxes. And Sacramento included here. Like, they do have some things to work on, some things to mitigate, and obviously they'll work hard in taking care of that before 2025. There just was no perfect option. And so that's why it was kind of up in the air. What exactly would they do? How would they remedy all this and get it in place? But at the very same time, I think what's stunning about the process is that Oakland had always been pitted against Las Vegas. Well, when the A's leave Oakland to go to Las Vegas, it's Oakland and then Las Vegas. Nobody ever really thought about this part right here, right now. This is not about going to Las Vegas or even going to Sacramento. This is about the A's officially leaving Oakland. And I feel heartbroken for everybody in Oakland. We're now thrust into this final 74 countdown for baseball games at the Coliseum. Yeah, there's 74 home games left here in 2024. There's 74 home games left ever at the Coliseum. And a lot of people right now are figuring out what they're going to do, how they're going to handle this. Go to one more game, or maybe they've already gone for the final time. I'll go through that same dilemma. Should I bring my son to one last game? Will I be there for the final game as part of work responsibilities? I don't know. How am I going to handle that day? Can't tell you right now. But I do know that the clock ticking all of a sudden like that, starting at a number of 74, that hits. And that's difficult. I think Oakland's offer is part of the negotiation in terms of maintaining the team and being an interim home for a couple years and just, extending the bridge a little bit. I think Oakland's offer was reasonable. Granted, it wasn't agreeable, but therein lies the difference. Reasonable in a sense that Oakland didn't ask for $100 million a year. They didn't ask for things that were outside of human control. They asked for things that they thought, as part of this process, were firm and respectful and reasonable. And it's just that the A's were not agreeable to it. Simple as that. That's how I'm already ready to summarize how the final negotiations actually went. But I think what's difficult and maybe most heartbreaking for Oakland is that personal and professional connections to the A's, like the sense of community, and some people who have worked at the Coliseum for a long time or with the team for a long time, it just feels as of right now, and I don't know what the plans are for the rest of this year, it feels like it's going to be erased and it's going to go away from Oakland without celebration and without good feelings and without a farewell and without a true proper chance for everybody to do this the right way. And I don't know, maybe something like that can or will happen, or how it will be organized, I don't know. But I think that's heartbreaking, the notion of letting something go without actually giving it any kind of proper send-off that it deserves. I also want to make a realization to you, a viewer of this channel right here, right now, is that I don't know how much I have to add to this entire conversation anymore. I'm somebody who's documented the A's stadium ambitions for, well, more than 7 years now. A lot longer than 7 years, but especially the last 7 years. From the Peralta site to Howard Terminal to buying half of the Coliseum land to parallel paths to everything that's gone on in Las Vegas for about the last year now. But my goal all along was to really just do one thing, is to keep people informed on the fine details of what was happening. You wouldn't believe how many times I'd run across family or friends and they say, well, what's going on here? And it would kind of start with a vague idea and understanding of the situation, but I would dig a little deeper just to see where they were at on it. And so many times people were several steps behind, or I don't know where the information came from. And so my goal was to only present everybody with the best possible information to truly understand where the process was at, what were the challenges, what exactly was happening here, because nobody else, well, myself, Casey Pratt, a few others, nobody else back then at that point was really on this story on any regular basis. And so that was my goal, was just to make sure that this stayed relevant, this stayed on people's radar. But the realization is this here right now, because I just don't feel like I have a lot more to add to the conversation anymore. It's not that I will avoid this story or these topics. And if that's why you're here on this channel, you will eventually get more of it, but I just will not be uploading on this topic at the same frequency I have. And a large part of that is actually not just because of me, it's because I feel like you're also in good hands, because the A's, if that's what they're called now, not the Oakland A's or the Sacramento A's, just the A's, they're kind of a national story. And there's a lot better media out there suited and connected to bring you this story and to deliver you the details and to dig deeper into their connections. I kind of felt alone in the coverage of this for so long. And I know I wasn't alone, but there were only a few of us. And I feel like that's not the case anymore. So I don't need to be the one that's grinding so hard in trying to keep everybody up to speed. And look, there still remain, as I see it, a lot of questions still to be answered before Las Vegas is an actual thing. And so, like I said, I'm not giving up entirely on this. I'm just going to back away from it for a while. Let it play out. Let other people cover it. I'll still pay attention and I'll still deliver you the biggest points and details, just not at the same frequency. And no, I don't have very many personal answers. What lies ahead for me? What's next for me? I'll tell you what I really do appreciate is how many of you have reached out to just ask how I'm doing, offer condolences. I'm an East Bay person, born and raised and still live in the East Bay here in Northern California. And obviously that's the personal side. The professional side also exists, but I don't know how it's going to go. I will tell you that the scars for everybody are going to exist here a lot more than we fully even recognize right now. Time is going to tell how people heal through this, how they get over this, how they move on from it, what they do next, what they choose to do with their energy that was once given to the Oakland A's. I do know that people are going to have to be patient with themselves and others to realize that there's a lot of people right now who are just realizing how deep this cuts. And so I appreciate everybody who's found me on this channel and covering this story. And I'm not here to drive you off and tell you to go in a different direction. I will give you some more of the same. But the reality is, this topic of the A's and where they might end up on this channel, it was important. This was an important platform to give you that information and to keep people updated when maybe not everybody else was. Like I said, now they're doing it. Now I can kind of step back for a second. But now I feel like it's time for this channel to grow, to go in different directions, and to help me reach further potential that, quite honestly, I just wasn't doing before, but now I'm going to try and get there, and hopefully you'll be along for the ride. So yeah, if you can hear the rain right now, it's been that kind of day all across Northern California. Again, something that's not a surprise, something that doesn't feel shocking to hear, but it feels stunning to realize. And I appreciate everybody who has supported me and my endeavors and this channel, but more importantly, everybody who has supported each other throughout this entire process. I'll see you next time.